What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what moved it, and what just came out from Lucid itself. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did go up a very impressive 13.59%, 292 the low, 331 the high, and then you did have a lot of volume, so big money was definitely getting into Lucid. 144.28 million shares being traded, 83 was the average. So a couple of things, you did have PPI and also initial jobless claims. First thing, so PPI came in hotter than anticipated, so 0.4 the actual, 0.3 the forecast. Initial jobless claims, 213 the actual, 215 the forecast. Last two data points from initial jobless claims were horrible, so the market really liked this data and caused some buying. And I think interestingly enough though, a lot of stocks that did go up quite significantly, such as Lucid, Faraday, SoundHound, a lot of the stocks are heavily shorted. So there is some correlation behind the scenes, I think attributed to that, but Lucid did also put this out this morning, and so Lucid announced its promotion of a mod to Senior VP of Powertrain. Also talks on how Lucid's efficiency and charging strategy. So I know this might seem like whatever, nothing crazy, but I think this news actually does signal that Lucid itself is going to be pivoting. So there's been more and more things coming out about potential partnerships, about that new 20/80 split where Lucid does want to get majority of their revenue from and through licensing in the foreseeable future. But there was also this that did come out. So Lucid is wanting to do a 180-mile EV, roughly around that $30,000 range. And this kind of contradicts what they said almost 1 year prior, how they don't want to focus on lower priced vehicles. But this, in order for this to be done, as what Peter stated, you need to make the battery smaller and cheaper, which is directly correlated with what this individual probably is working on right now. So Lucid does want to pivot. They want to pretty much get the majority of their revenue from that new vehicle. And then over and above that though, have their amazing technology, because they've already hit all the key milestones that they need, so still a lot of good records. They can license that technology out. So I think this is actually where Lucid is going to be starting to do a lot of hopefully good things, but this is where we'll look back and this is going to be the key pivot of their actual operations. And I just wanted to kind of point this out. So Tristan posted this a while back, February the 5th. And so we already do know this is Gravity, Air. This one right now, another sedan, is like question mark. We don't really know what this is. And to potentially, this could be, just throwing it out there, this maybe 180 mile just new sedan. Again, we'll just have to wait and see what this is. But yeah, definitely Lucid has been working on a lot of things over the last little bit, and they are very good at kind of having the prototypes set. They're good at having a plan, fulfilling the plan and ramping up. That's a whole kind of another issue that Lucid isn't really good at, but they're good at tentatively planning. So this right here could be something very interesting. The only other thing I wanted to bring up was this right here. Even though there was no actual news, like nobody's really talking about this, it looks like Lucid did kind of sign a new MOU with EVIQ. So it's a startup in Saudi. So I think this is really good for not just Lucid, but really just getting their name out there and their foothold within Saudi, their 2030 vision. So honestly, I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of big things for Lucid, bigger picture, and more of these MOUs just with large government bodies or just charging stations and whatever. That's going to be really better than in the foreseeable future. But getting right to it, shorts did return 349,000 shares. Throughout the day though, I did a post on social media or on Twitter, and they were actually increasing. I think it was like 69,000. So kind of interesting. 20.74% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 247.08 million shares overall are being shorted. Another kind of sign of manipulation is this right here. So cost to borrow minimum is negative. So that means there is a broker out there physically paying people to short Lucid. A lot of things, like I said, I think are linked to manipulation and with Lucid, but we've never really seen that. So the cost to borrow minimum. So it kind of does signal who is shorting and trying to benefit from Lucid going down. So it is a broker, at least one of these individuals out there. So that definitely is something to kind of analyze. Moving on from here, you had 3.88 million in calls, 1.09 in puts. 51% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature. So even though Lucid did run up, optimism wasn't necessarily there from that standpoint. Of the call options that were purchased, you see a consensus for it to be above 350, and then for the week of their earnings, roughly around $4. Bears are anticipating pretty much a flat level, $3 or sub $3 is anticipated. And so these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So definitely a lot more big money was getting into Lucid. Couple big transactions after hours. So 6.16 and then 1.1 or 1.1 million. So pretty good stuff. Dark pool, very popular, same as yesterday. I do want to kind of cycle back to this though. So I brought this up yesterday, and I kind of mentioned how it could have been the PIF buying Lucid, but I wanted to kind of take that back and maybe propose that it might be some other entity such as BlackRock or someone else, because if we kind of look here, a lot of big transactions. So if you didn't see my video yesterday, spoiler alert, a hell of a lot of big transactions. So I think this is what gave the foundation of buying from just after hours yesterday. But you can kind of look at the timestamp. So 15, 18, 38. So kind of remember that. And so there's a lot of other stocks that I do cover, and one of them is NIO. I covered this under Financial Journey. And if we kind of look right here, very similar transactions, not to the same dollar value. I think Lucid's is a little bit higher. Sorry, NIO's is a little bit higher, but nonetheless, if we kind of look at the timestamp, exact same. So it is fair to assume it is the same entity. I looked at a lot of other EVs. This type of scenario did not happen. So some entity is buying both NIO and Lucid, and I don't think the PIF would be buying NIO. Again, I could be wrong. What do I know in life? But I think definitely some big money is getting into EVs. So I think that's kind of optimistic. Based on where it did close at $3.26, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. $3 is going to be a strong support that you'll really want to watch for going forward. $3.40 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. On the actual chart itself, so with it at $3.24, well above all the key pivotal moving averages and everything. Stochastic RSI, you do see a nice bullish deviation, so blue line above the orange, as well it is relatively neutral in nature. So all in all, I think a very exciting day. Tomorrow, you could see some consolidation. I think every time Lucid or just any stock goes up double digits, you are most likely going to see some just profit taking, consolidation, even manipulation in Lucid's case. So just anticipate that. But some key points to really watch for going forward is just the $3 range and then $3.40. Even if we zoom in over here, looking at the 4 hour, a little bit closer, 323, that's going to be also another one, and then 308. So just kind of take note of all of that. But there was a hell of a lot of things I did bring up in this video. So what is your general thoughts on everything? What's your thoughts on the MOU, potential massive pivot that is happening with Lucid, and just big money buying? What's your general thoughts on all of that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to kind of take a look at them. So definitely worthwhile for that. So with all that, appreciate all of you watching.